Hello, Fiona here to give you an overview of all the conservation outreach work that's been going on over the winter. Firstly, I have an update of my own though. In February this year, I accepted a job with the Environment Agency in my home county of Lincolnshire. The previous post holder had retired, so this rare opportunity seemed too good not to even try for. It all happened rather quickly, to be honest, and I hadn't been looking to leave the BDS at all. I've really enjoyed my time here over the last 4 years, and I would genuinely miss the brilliant team that I've been lucky enough to be part of. But I won't be fully leaving though, as I'll be moving over to the volunteer team so that I can continue to fly the flag for dragonflies in Lincolnshire. I've had an absolute blast the last 4 years, from getting to work with the amazing team down at our old Dragonfly Centre at Wickham Fen, meeting my childhood hero, Chris Packham, long-term friend of the Dragonfly Society and supporter, when he came down to the Dragonfly Centre to undertake a BioBlitz event, and just meeting all of you and going to events and talking to people about dragonflies. It's been absolutely brilliant. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone who I've worked with over the last 4 years and who has so kindly shared knowledge with me. And I mean, Team Dragonfly really is a fantastic, friendly group to be part of. So I just wanted to start out by saying a big thank you to you all. I will miss you all, but I won't be leaving fully. So I'm sure you'll see me again at an event soon. Back to BDS work now. One of the main pieces of work that I've been involved in over the winter is our 5-year strategy document. The BDS is in a really strong position now thanks to your support, ideas and feedback. The strategy document captures everyone's views and what we should be focusing on over the next 5 years. I was really pleased to see how valued our outreach and communications work is too. If you'd like to read our final document, you can head to our website, go along the top menu to what we do, and then it's the first drop down, Strategy 2022 to 2026, and that's the final document that you can have a read of. Now, my post will not only be replaced, but an extra part-time post has also been created to help the Society to grow in this important area. So we're going to recruit one full-time conservation outreach officer to carry on and expand our important Dragonfly Hotspots programme, and then a part-time communications and membership officer, which will expand our team and increase capacity. So it's a really exciting time for the BDS, and I cannot recommend working with this amazing team highly enough. So do keep an eye out on our website and social media for those posts being advertised soon, and please do share with anyone that you think might be suitable to come and work in our amazing team. Another winter job for me is designing and editing our membership magazine, Dragonfly News. The spring 2022 edition will sadly be my last ever issue, and then I will hand over editing duties to Ellie until our communications officer is recruited. So I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who has contributed to Dragonfly News over the years. Your articles, photos and content have been brilliant, and it's been a real honour to take on this coveted role of editor for the last few years. Now, one behind the scenes job that you might not realise that the editor gets to do is writing a handwritten letter to our current patron, Sir David Attenborough. And the best bit about that is that he usually writes back. So I have had the honour of having a handwritten letter in return from Sir David quite a few times. So hopefully, Ellie, when you take over as editor, you will be able to take on this role as well, and you will have the joy of opening a letter from Sir David Attenborough. It has made my day on many occasions, and I will treasure those letters forevermore. So good luck to Ellie in your new role as editor, and I am sure that the magazine will continue to go from strength to strength with your amazing content in it. An ongoing all year round job for me is our monthly e-newsletter, Hawker. This will also be handed over to Ellie in the interim until we get that communications officer in post. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure to create and edit this newsletter. Your content, feedback and encouragement has been absolutely brilliant. I really do appreciate it. I've genuinely enjoyed reading the emails that I get back each month after I send Hawker out. It's really nice to know that the hard work that goes into this newsletter is appreciated. And I'm also really proud to be handing over the newsletter with over 3,000 subscribers. This is pretty much triple the number of people that subscribed to when I first took over the newsletter. So with your help, if we can keep getting more people to subscribe, I think it will just go from strength to strength, and I can't wait to see those subscriber numbers keep climbing over the next few years. Dragonfly hotspots are a big part of my work, and over the winter I spend a lot of time supporting our partners and planning events for the summer ahead. So back in January, I headed down to our Wisby Dragonfly hotspot in Lincolnshire to plan events for this summer. And we're planning a Dragonfly Day on Saturday the 9th of July this year. And this will be advertised on our website with full details soon. So if you head to our events page, you'll find everything on there quite soon. But we're basically planning a big Dragonfly Day similar to our launch event last year. So we'll have guided walks, craft activities, and we'll have some dragonfly larvae on display. And like all our events, this will be free and you can just turn up on the day. Times will be available on the website soon, so look out for that. Over the winter, I've also been working with the team at our Paxton Pits Dragonfly hotspot down in Huntingdonshire. So working with them to try and hold a Dragonfly Day there too. And we're still working on the design and installation of an information board on site. So that is thanks to your generous donations that we can have these important information sharing boards at our hotspot sites. So we'll bring you news on that as soon as we get that completed. Not only have I been speaking to our existing hotspot teams over the winter to plan events for this summer, I've also been chatting to a couple of new teams as we're going to designate 2 new Dragonfly hotspots this summer during Dragonfly Week. On the first weekend of Dragonfly Week, on Saturday the 16th of July, we will designate our first ever Welsh Dragonfly hotspot at Llangorse Lake in the Brecon Beacons. Now, it is a truly beautiful site, so if you can make it down there, it really is worth your while. And then the second weekend of Dragonfly Week, on Saturday the 23rd of July, we will designate Wildfowl and Wetland Trust Stewart Marshes in Somerset as a Dragonfly hotspot. Now, we'll be on the reserve between 10 AM and 3 PM, so if you can join us, please do, because it's going to be a brilliant dragonfly-filled day. You might have seen Stewart Marshes on Countryfile recently, as they were featured as a natural flood storage area and a brilliant space for wildlife. So if you didn't catch it, head to the iPlayer and look for the River 7 episode and you'll see Stewart Marshes and get a wonderful insight into this brilliant wetland. Now I'm going to hand over to Ellie, who's going to tell you a bit more about these events coming up this summer.
Thanks, Fiona. After 2 summers of restrictions on public events and travel, it's been really exciting planning our summer programme of events. As Fiona mentioned, we have a launch event planned for the new Stewart Marshes Hotspot Partnership taking place on the 23rd of July down in Somerset. If you're available to volunteer with this event, do let me know. There's also the Llangorse Lakes Hotspot Partnership launch on the 16th of July. And I'd like to say a big thank you now to Keith Noble, the County Dragonfly recorder for Breconshire, who's helped set this up and has also helped set up the Llangorse Dragonfly group, which is a group consisting of stakeholders at the site, including staff from the Brecon Beacons National Park and the Wildlife Trust of South and West Wales. And with these individuals, we're going to plan many future Dragonfly related events. Just a quick reminder, there are also 7 other existing hotspot sites across England, and if you're interested in volunteering at any of these, whether it's recording, doing outreach work, or just doing practical conservation work to try and maintain the wetlands there, please do get in touch, and then we can pass you on to the corresponding site and relevant member of staff. For example, at Stover Country Park, our hotspot in Devon, Dave Smallshire, our Devon County Dragonfly recorder, is looking for experienced dragonfly recorders to help monitor the park's diverse dragonfly populations there. And the park is also currently applying for a Lottery Heritage Fund, which will help fund future work at the park over the next few years. And if they're successful in this, as part of the new funded project, they'd like these new Dragonfly volunteers to help mentor a group of young people and teach them how to monitor dragonflies. So this could be a really fun opportunity for anybody who's an experienced dragonfly recorder and good communicator to get involved with. I believe they're having a field meeting to go over the project on the 21st of May, and also to look for dragonflies at the site. You can find out more information on the BDS website event page, where I think the meeting details are listed. Also on the BDS website event page is our programme of field meetings for this year, which are taking place across the country. And these have been put together by our county dragonfly recorders and some other volunteers. Big thank you for whoever has submitted and put together field meetings for this season. Please do have a look. There's some really fun opportunities on there. However, if you prefer to record solo, then we have lots of recording projects that you can get involved with locally to you. At some point in the future, the BDS will produce a sequel to the State of Dragonflies 2021 report. Last year's report highlighted how rapidly our dragonfly communities have changed over the past few decades, with the distribution of many of our resident species changing as our climate warms. To help us continue to track changes in species distribution, we need recorders to continue carrying out surveys, and specifically continuing carrying out complete list surveys, producing complete species lists for the sites that they visit. And ideally they will visit the same site 3 times a year in order to identify early, kind of midsummer and late summer species. And if you're able to do this, that's fantastic. The data will be really valuable. And if you can do this over sequential years, that's even better. And if you can do this, then you can adopt a site and register it on our website. We also need help from dragonfly recorders to help engage with the managers of sites which support priority species, so red-listed species such as white-faced darter and southern damselfly. And we need help encouraging these site owners and managers to monitor their priority species and also look after them, so manage the site appropriately for them. And this includes local authorities, private landowners, and kind of reserve managing charities, such as the RSPB and Wildlife Trust. Monitoring our priority species often includes doing kind of more detailed survey work, So this includes doing detailed counts of adults during surveys, and also looking for larvae and exuvia sometimes as well. If you are conducting complete list surveys at a site every year, or if you are carrying out long-term monitoring at a site, please do register your site via our website, because this helps us keep a track of who's recording where, and helps us identify which areas we need to target for future survey work. You can register your site by going to the Dragonfly watch page under the recording section of the BDS website. Over the 2022 survey season, we will also have our target species projects. These are a great opportunity for people wanting to get into recording, but who are a little bit nervous about learning to identify lots of different species, because our target species projects generally focus on one species. Firstly, we have the white-legged damselfly investigation. This species can be found as far north as Derbyshire and as far west as Powys. The main flight season for this species is from May to August, and it can be found breeding on slow-flowing waterways and ponds. This is an under-recorded species, although the records we do have show that the species is showing a significant shift in its distribution, and we're interested in researching this further. Secondly, we have the Northern Damselfly project. This will be taking place in Scotland in June and July, but I'll let Andrea discuss this a little bit later. Lastly, we have the Willow Emerald Watch. We've been tracking the spread of the Willow Emerald Damselfly since it first colonised East Anglia back in 2009, and the species since 2021 has been recorded as far north as North Yorkshire and as far west as Wolverhampton. The species is primarily on the wing between July and November, and the species breeds on still and slow-flowing wetlands that have overhanging trees, which is where it oviposits. You can find information on all our recording projects and how to submit your results on the British Dragonfly Society website in the recording section. Going back to the results of the State of Dragonflies report that Your Records helped produce, the report helped outline the need for us to review the current Odonata Red List for Great Britain, which was produced back in 2008. Now this Red List categorises species vulnerability to extinction based on guidelines set out by the JNCC. An example of how outdated this list is the dainty damselfly, which is currently listed on the Red List as being regionally extinct in Britain, as it was extinct in Britain at the time of producing the Red List back in 2008. However, the species was rediscovered in Kent in 2010 and can now be found at a number of sites in Kent. So a Red List review is definitely on the cards. In other red listed species news, it's important to note that the legal protection provided to endangered species under the Wildlife and Countryside Act is currently under review. Currently, the southern damselfly and the Norfolk quokka and their respective habitats receive legal protection from human activity. The JNCC is currently proposing to maintain legal protection for the southern damselfly, but is looking to remove the Norfolk quokka from the schedule, as it no longer meets the criteria to receive protection. The criteria has recently been updated, and this new criteria requires a species to, one, be listed as endangered, on its respective red list. And there must also be recent evidence that direct human activity is threatening the species' survival in Britain through kind of direct damage or destroying their habitat, or by destroying the species themselves. And the main threat to Norfolk quokka and their breeding habitat is currently sea level rise, which could destroy much of its stronghold in the Norfolk Broads in the future. However, as this isn't classified as a direct threat from humans, then the species doesn't qualify under the new guidelines. During a recent stakeholders consultation, the BDS has, however, proposed that the northern damselfly be added to Schedule 5 and receive legal protection in the future. This is a species that is currently listed as endangered on the current BDS Odonata Red List. And there's also ample evidence from the past decade or so of human activity, specifically kind of urban and rural developments, threatening their habitat and destroying some of their few precious breeding sites. This has included the development of supermarkets and the installation of new roadways. And now to talk more about the northern damselfly and what's going on in Scotland, I'm going to pass on to Andrea.
That was a good link, Ellie. Well done.
Hello. To give you an overview.
Thank you. Oh God,
of
we're playing again. Not sharing. It was almost so smooth.
Yeah. Right, hopefully. Has that worked? Can everybody see the slides?
Indeed.
Yeah, I just need to put it on slideshow. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, you might not be aware, but Danielle's not here today because she also has COVID, like Fiona. And she's feeling pretty rotten and hasn't got much of a voice at the moment. So I'm doing the full Scotland update. So I've just got a couple of slides from Danielle. So she's recently been assisting on a pond volunteer tasks, which are being carried out in conjunction with Deeside, an amphibian and reptile group, and Perth and Kinross Council. This is mainly at ponds within the Perth, Murthly and Llangorse areas. And it's thanks to funding from the Scottish Government's Nature Restoration Fund. So it has involved volunteers working to remove invasive vegetation which have been infilling some of these ponds so that they can create more areas of open water, obviously to benefit Odonata as well as amphibians. And they've also been planting native wildflowers, again to provide a source for food sources for pollinators and therefore also food for dragonflies. They've also been carrying out some surveys to ascertain what's living in these ponds prior to carrying out the work. She's got some more volunteering days coming up before the end of March. Currently, these are on the events section of the Deeside Amphibian and Reptile Group Facebook page, but I'm sure they'll make it over to our website in time too. So that's Danielle's updates. Going on to mine, and I know people are probably hungry, so I'll try not to go on for too long. So I'm going to talk about the Northern Damselfly project we've been carrying out in the Cairngorms National Park, which is separate to the citizen science one that Ellie alluded to, which I don't actually have time to talk about, sadly. But I gave you a brief intro to this at the autumn meeting when we were still very much in the planning stages, but things have moved on since then. And we've just a reminder of the area that we're looking at. So we're looking at really the stronghold of the northern damselfly population and around the area of the Cairngorms there, and also in Deeside as well. So where we are at the moment, where we had a target to create 10 new ponds across both areas and improve 10 ponds across both areas. By the end of this month, we will have created 9 new ponds, but we will have carried out management works at 11 new ponds. So we're still ending up with the same overall number. And just to sort of explain the traffic light system here, so the sites shaded in green, that they're done. We finished works at those sites. The ones in yellow, we've either halfway through or we've still got those yet to start. And the ones in red are just where it clearly wasn't going to happen because it was just moving too slowly with the sites there. So what we've been doing is identifying sites where we could have new ponds or which had existing ponds. On the OS map, this was apparently a pond. It's obviously not been a pond for some time, so we decided to recreate a pond here, and this is Glenbeg, which is a private estate near Grantown-on-Spey. So this is the before picture, and this is not quite after, but a during picture. So we've created a nice big pond there, just trying to follow the contours of the land and try and work out where the previous pond was. It probably looks much nicer now, and we've also cut back some more of the birch that you can see there, just to open that up and let some more sunlight in. And the interesting thing with this site was, in between my visit, the landowner had actually found the other pond that was showing on the OS map, which had been just completely scrubbed over. So whilst the guys were there doing this pond, they went and improved that pond. So we now actually have 2 ponds functioning well on this particular site. Another pond, this site, it's owned a small croft, and the landowner's he's already got 2 ponds and he was really keen to get some more. So we put 2 ponds in here. One's been built already, one's still to go in. So you can see this was just the area, a pretty unproductive area of land there, but with lots of water, lots of little runnels going through it. So that's before, and that's the after picture. Our excavator Mike had great fun with this. He went quite arty. He was finding big rocks as he was digging, and he decided to sort of rearrange them to make quite a nice little feature there. And the owner was absolutely chuffed with the results of this pond. Another site, not great photos, I'm afraid they're a bit dark, but this is RSPB Insh Marshes, an area called Soillerie, and it's where the conic ponies go to graze, so it's just rough grazing. The first bit behind the fence, you can see that is just juncus diffusus. So it's a nice wet site, but not very diverse. And the other site's just down from that outside of the fencing, and it's just sort of in a natural dip there, which is just rough grassland. So the after pictures of this, so this was the first one in the juncus behind the fence there, and this is the second one further down, which both worked out really well. I wasn't sure about the lower one because we'd hit sand, and I thought, oh no, it's not, it's just going to drain out, but it's actually filled up really nicely. So over to Deeside. These are 2, it was a skating pond and a curling pond in their heyday, so on a private estate, but used by the village, and the smaller pond is on the left hand side, and as you can see, that's just completely infilled pretty much with Carex rostrata, and also a little island is formed in the middle there with some birch scrub on. The other pond is bigger and had more open water, but again, it's just scrubbed up all around the edges, and it's just really shading out the pond. So this is what the first one now looks like. So you can see lots of that vegetation has been removed. The island has gone, and we've taken some of the trees, the bigger trees, back from the edge of the pond there. So again, that's just opened it up really nicely. And again, with the other pond, just took out a lot of that scrub and a lot of the overhanging trees, and that's just looking brilliant now. This was just yesterday, and this has really made my day, just seeing the transformation here. Believe it or not, behind it, within this reed bed and behind all that, there's a sort of scrub of birch and willow, is a pond. It was really hard to find. It's really dense scrub, right up to the edge of the pond and sort of overhanging the pond. It was really hard to find, and they actually had to cut a channel in to just get into there, to actually get to the edge of the pond. And once they'd done that, it was a bit like going through the wardrobe and ending up in Narnia. It was absolutely brilliant, because it just revealed this wonderful pond. So that was a full day of chainsaw work by the guys yesterday, and they worked really hard on it. So we've now got around the edge of the pond about 3 to 4 meters all the way around. So there is still some scrub further back, and the existing scrub was just cut back and sort of put into that scrub. So we haven't lost any habitat. Nesting birds are happy. The robins seemed really happy with it. So it's still got a nice bit of shelter, but it's just opened this pond up, and I was just so happy to see this pond. I then went around sticking some sticks in, so we've got some nice perches around there for photographers who might want to visit. And also the depth, I mean, that goes to about 1 meter really quickly. So I think this is going to be a great pond and a lovely little secluded area within the woods where we can go and watch dragonflies as well as other things. And so whilst I was there, I just thought, it's not a dragonfly larva, but what the hell. Whilst they were blowing away, I was just watching what was in the pond. There was this lovely caddisfly larva. I was also surrounded by crossbills, I have to say. It's going to be a really lovely site because it's off the paths. You have to know it's there to go and find it. And that's me. I didn't want to go on for too long because I know everyone will want to break for lunch. But we will be having a thank you event for everyone who's been involved in the project to date. So people who have been involved can expect to get an invite one day soon. And of course, this is not the end of the story. We will be going back to do some more works. We're going to do a bit of planting around some of the new ponds, and also a little bit more public engagement, and hopefully taking people out to find these new ponds and linking up landowners with volunteers so that we can make sure the ponds are monitored. And that's it from me. I'll hand back to Ellie.
Thanks, Andrea. It's gonna be really good kind of going back in like a year or so and seeing what turns up. Right, I think we're at lunchtime. Hooray! So we've got an hour lunch break, so you can go out and enjoy the sunshine, grab a sandwich, and we'll see you back here at 1:45 for Jen's talk on rare invertebrates in the Cairngorms. So back up to Scotland again. See you in a bit.
Bye.